Over the past couple of weeks, a wild theory has been spreading around the internet about Stranger Things 5, like a wildfire. It is one of the best regarded theories out there, and a lot of people believe that it will indeed end up true. But after doing some further investigation, I believe that this theory is in fact 100% false, based on already established information that we've gotten on Stranger Things 5. So let's debunk this theory. First of all, this theory stems from an interview where Noah Schnapp, when asked about Will's involvement in Season 5, simply stated that the show started with Will and it will end with Will. Of course, you'd immediately assume that this refers to Will dying in Season 5, but this theory states that time travel will finally come into play in the next season. This is derived from a scene in Season 4 Episode 7 where Nancy, while looking around her upside-down bedroom for guns, comes across her old diary with the last written date labeled as November 6th, 1983. Speaking of 1983, if you don't subscribe right now, you'll be sent back through time and end up in the upside down Hawkins. Okay, trust me, you don't want to get shish kebab by one of those bat tentacle thingies, or not being able to sleep because your neighbor Vecna decided it's a great time to start moaning again. He's probably having fun with those tentacle thingies again. Anyway, use your powers to physically crush that subscribe button so you don't end up noseless like Vecna. Enough chit chat, back to the video. Using this, the theory then mentions that at the end of Season 5, Eleven will sacrifice herself while attempting to save Hawkins and the world from VECNA'S forces by inherently closing the giant gate in the middle of Hawkins inside the Upside Down while trapping herself in there. While she is there, she finds a way to travel back in time where she prevents herself from opening the first gate and in turn prevents Will getting kidnapped by the Demogorgon and supposedly making a copy of Hawkins in the Upside Down. So she basically sacrifices herself in order to have a new alternate timeline where the Mother Gate was never opened and everybody lived normal lives, effectively resetting the entire series and the events that took place. With that being said, let's get a closer look and discuss the flaws of this theory. Firstly, I want to start off with stating that Will didn't actually create the upside down version of Hawkins. It was actually Eleven. I found evidence of this being true while I was looking at some of the interviews done on the Stranger Things channel, and I came across this interview with the production designer of the show. Here, take a look.
We spent some time in the Wheeler house, both in the Upside Down and in the real world. It's always been a part of how we have conceived of the mythology of the Upside Down and the kind of the rules and the physics of the Upside Down. The moment that the Upside Down was quote unquote created inadvertently by Eleven, the set dressing and the world of the Upside Down is frozen in that moment.
So now that we've debunked that part, let's take a look at the time traveling aspect. This theory clearly states that time travel is indeed possible in this universe, but it just doesn't explain the mechanics of it. Instead, it just blatantly says that Eleven finds a way of time traveling while being stuck in the Upside Down by closing the gate while inside the alternate dimension. Nobody knows for sure how or if time travel exists in the show, but if it does, then I might have a mini theory on how they can accomplish that. You see, Vecna always seems so confident in everything he was doing, especially while showing Nancy glimpses of the future in Season 4 Episode 8. Even while Eleven literally has him by the throat in Episode 9, he still exclaims,
"You and your friends believe you have won, don't you? But this is only the beginning of the end."
So what if Vecna's powers also include the ability to foresee the future? So what if by spreading out his hive mind more and more, he continued to get stronger until the point where he developed his foresight into the ability to traverse time? Only he was stopped by Eleven and the gang before he can engulf Hawkins with spores and begin the transformation of Hawkins into a sort of monster utopia. But in Season 5, he will need to regain his strength, which might mean that he will have to use Will to start manipulating him into submitting to him so that he can use him to feed off of his emotions, and so that he can take with him all of the leftover hive mind particles still present in Hawkins at the end of Season 3. So what if, while using Will as bait, Eleven attempts to save Max by going into Vecna's mind and physically rid him of his powers, as she takes his and then, together with the gang, use Vecna's grandfather clock, because I believe that the clock is the key to time travel successfully, as we see Vecna controlling the clock and attempt to move it to 1959, and attempt to save Will by going back in time to November 6, 1983, so that they can prevent any of that stuff from ever happening, so that they can live out their lives in an alternate timeline. Either way, they could just make it so Vecna has foresight and skip the time travel part, since it would ultimately make a lot more sense to do so, but I am still a firm believer that either Eleven or Will die in Season 5. I'd say Will is the more likely candidate, just because it would be more fitting than having 11 go, and it would be more tragic. Well, whatever it is, all remains to be seen when Season 5 arrives, hopefully in a year's time from now. But seeing that they'll begin filming this summer, I'm starting to think that an early 2024 release date is pretty unlikely. Either way, I hope they have time to answer all of the important plot points of Season 4 that weren't explained, like how were the Demogorgons in the Russian prison alive even before the opening of the first gate by Vecna? Why and how is the Upside Down Hawkins stuck on November 6, 1983? And most importantly, how do Eleven's and Vecna's powers function, and how did they came to be? Although I think I have a pretty good solution to all of these plot points, but it'll just have to end up as a mini theory in the pinned comment. Although some of these questions might be answered sooner than later, with the arrival of the brand new Stranger Things play that'll feature a young Henry Creel as he attends Hawkins Middle School, where we'd hopefully finally get more insight on the origin of his powers and how he was treated there. Until then, we can only speculate on the origins of his powers, while I firmly believe that they either originate from his mother Virginia, since we see Dr. Brenner experiment with Eleven's mother. Therefore, it might be an inherited trait resulting from the experimentation, making him the first successful subject, or truly might be purely natural, as we see with the mutants in X-Men. Other than that, we'll also have some scenes in the play with Joyce and Hopper in high school, which would be so cool. And with that, I'd just like to say that I'm planning on making my own little script of Stranger Things 5, which I will then condense into a full trailer, which will hopefully be released by the end of the year or the start of next year. So before we end the video, I'd just like to point out that literally 99.5% of my viewers aren't even subscribed. What are you guys doing? Hit that subscribe button for more Stranger Things and film related content. I know it's kinda cliche saying this stuff, but like I'm not one of those million subscriber channels that say this stuff on every single video and pretend like nobody is subscribed to them. I'm just a small creator making videos for fun, and the least you guys can do to help me out is to subscribe and recommend the video to other people so I can grow this community into something more. Don't forget that you can also check out my Fiverr gig, where I offer custom animations of famous title sequences, everything ranging from Stranger Things to Batman, Star Wars, and even Lord of the Rings. So check that out, link in the description and pinned comment. Make sure to check out my other videos on Stranger Things and other movies and shows through these playlists. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!